All right, I'm back with another girl boss, and I'm so excited to share with you all about Leah Williams' new business, LC Public Relations. Welcome, Leah.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell us, y'all, you're gonna get to know so many fun things about Leah today. She's so brave, and maybe you're at home thinking, can I leave this good paying job and go out on my own? And the answer to that, Leah, is
absolutely.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay. Well, like you said, it's called LC Public Relations, and it's a full-service PR agency. And so what that means is we are basically creating brand awareness for our clients. So that could be a nonprofit organization, it could be an individual running a campaign, or it could be any kind of business. So that's essentially what we're doing in a nutshell.
Awesome. And you are brave because you were actually, and you know what, we're going to just turn this light down just a tad. All right, because you're so pretty, girl. We got to see that pretty face. All right, so you're so brave because you had been at a job you loved. So talk a little bit about that and tell everyone about your transition.
Sure, absolutely. So I had been with Security Bank for 5 years. I absolutely loved my job. I loved my boss. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, and I hit a point in my life where I just felt like I was ready to spread my wings and go out on my own. Now, it was a little bit scary because I was in a very comfortable position, but I just felt like, you know, this is the time to do it in my life. And I, obviously with lots of preparation and time, I decided to go out on my own. So it was a huge step of faith for me.
Absolutely. So how did you know now was the time? I mean, was it your husband's influence and support? Was it like your mom and dad saying, you know, this is the time? How do you know when the time is here to branch out?
Great question. So I had that point about a year ago, and I just was sitting there talking to my best friend. We were actually in Nashville, and I was just telling her, you know, the vision that I had and how I felt like Midland really needed those kind of services. And I felt like I was at the point in my job where I had kind of hit the top. There was nowhere for me to grow, and I wanted to get out and work with lots of different kinds of companies and not just stay in the banking world. And so it was at that time that I just decided, you know what, if I'm going to make this happen, I don't have children right now. I'm at a point in my career where I had enough experience under my belt where I knew I could do it. So I just took baby steps, and my first thing was I bought my LLC. I bought my domain for my website, and then I purchased my LLC. So it just took baby steps over about a year to kind of make that jump.
So tell us about your domain. What did you go with, and how can we find you?
Okay. So I bought my domain through Squarespace. That's also where I built my website.
Now, what made you choose Squarespace?
You know, I had actually talked to several of my friends that had their own websites, and I really liked their websites, and I asked them, hey, where did you build your website? And they told me Squarespace. And so you can actually purchase a domain through them and not build your website, but I just decided to do everything together.
Through Squarespace. Awesome. And you all, just to share with you again, it's LC publicrelations.com. Such a cute website. You did it all by yourself. She did it by herself. Would you recommend this portal for people that don't have much experience with web design? Is it user friendly?
I would say it's very user-friendly. I had never built a website myself. I've had experience with websites, just going into content management systems and updating, you know, sentences here and there. But it was very user-friendly. You don't have to know code or anything like that. You just have to have a template, and you know, play around with it, and you kind of can insert photos and your text. But I would say it's very user-friendly.
Okay, so she said her first step in starting her business, stepping out on faith, was purchasing her domain, okay? And then from there, you built your website, and then you said you purchased your LLC. Let's talk a little bit about that process. What's that like?
So I actually, and I will say, I relied on a lot of my friends, you know, that had their own businesses or people that had done that. And so I would say to anyone that wants to start their own business, really rely on getting advice and talking to people, because that is what helped me so much. So I actually went through LegalZoom. You can do it on your own, but it was a little intimidating for me. So I went through LegalZoom, and I had them do everything for my LLC. So that's kind of how I went through it, and it's very user friendly. So you just go to their website and it walks you through it.
And you just enter the information yourself. And tell me about the price range. I mean, what can people expect for those at home that want to go start a new business? How much is it, something like that, to go obtain an LLC through LegalZoom?
Okay, so an LLC is going to run you about $300 in the state of Texas. That's just how much it runs. Now with LegalZoom, they will offer you additional services. You know, if they want to help you with like your taxes or things like that. And I just strictly chose to do my LLC. So that was a little over $300, but that was just the very basic. So.
Okay, very nice. And so after you received that LLC confirmation in the mail, what'd you do? Did you go to a party? Did you jump up and down?
It was really exciting. I told a few friends. You know, I had a little certificate. It was just, it felt so official, but obviously I knew I had a lot of work to do. Just feeling that official, like, oh my gosh, I have an LLC. Like, it was a great feeling.
I'm in business, I bet. All right. And then from there, deciding your services, stepping out on faith and being brave and asking for the business. As a business owner myself, you know, that's what I find to, and when I'm working with other women, that they seem to feel maybe most intimidating, going out and asking for business. So how do you do that with your new business?
Well, I'm very, very new in this process, so I'm definitely in that stage. But, you know, I actually have a little bit of sales in my background, so I was used to picking up the phone, making cold calls, walking indoors. I wasn't given a book of business. I had to build it on my own. So I do have that experience. But luckily for me, just growing up in Midland and having that network, I've had a lot of people just come to me and say, oh, I want to talk to you about this. So that's been great. I know obviously it's going to require me to go out and find some business, but I have had some business come to me just by advertising it on social media.
Absolutely. Advertising on social media. So how do you recommend for women that do want to get their name out there, their brand out there? Do you recommend social media as a tool?
Absolutely. I think if you are not on social media in today's times, like, you're behind the ball.
Absolutely.
And social media can be very cost effective. You can pay to promote ads, but you can set a budget. So for example, I ran an ad recently and I gave myself a $30 budget, and once it ran out, it didn't promote it anymore. But you can do it completely free. It just takes a lot of time. Obviously, you have to grow your following, you have to put good content. So it just takes a lot of man hours to run your own social media, but I think it's a very powerful tool.
Awesome. So Leah, tell me about how you decided what services that you wanted to offer with your public relations company.
Okay. So I offer the, you know, pretty standard services for most PR agencies. I did spend a lot of time researching different PR agencies in the state of Texas, just kind of looking at their services, and also just focusing on what it is I truly loved doing and what I felt like I was good at. So with my job at security, you know, I had to do all kinds of different things. I had to wear a lot of different hats, and it wasn't necessarily stuff I enjoyed, but the stuff that I really, really enjoyed was the PR side. And so I knew when I started my business, I didn't want to do a full service marketing firm. I wanted to focus on the PR side. And so with that being said, you know, that incorporated events, you know, doing graphic design work, media relations, doing stuff in the community based, working with nonprofits and bringing businesses together. That was something that I wanted to do. So I kind of
connecting.
Exactly. So I just kind of like took my interest and talents and just kind of, you know, brought it together as part of my services package.
I love that. And doing what you enjoy most is so important. So every day when you are working, you feel like this isn't work at all.
Right.
So, you know, and we were visiting before we hopped on air with you, and I was asking her the difference between marketing and public relations, and there is a difference. So talk a little bit about the difference in those two.
Okay. So the way I explain everything, so marketing, if you think about it, is a big umbrella. And within the umbrella, you have advertising, you have public relations, you have digital marketing, you have SEO. You kind of have a lot of different things that fall under the umbrella.
Okay.
And so a lot of people get public relations and advertising confused. And so when I explain the difference between the two, I say, okay, advertising is, you know, is promoting your product or your brand, and you're paying for that media space. So that could look like a billboard, it could look like a website, It could look like a print advertisement. Now with PR, what you're doing is you're building credibility in the community. So you are promoting the goodwill of a company or a brand and showing that off, and you're using the media to help get your message out. So you're not necessarily paying for that. You are hoping the PR professional is responsible for creating interesting content enough that the media will want to pick up that story and put it on the news or put it in the paper. And so that's kind of the difference between PR and advertising, is that you're building your brand and you're just showing like the great things that you're doing in the community or in your business. And so that's kind of the difference between the two fields.
That's very interesting. Thanks for breaking that down, because I think a lot of us that are not in or under that umbrella may have a bit of confusion about that. So thanks for clearing that up. Leah, I'm so excited for you. You have such a bright future ahead of you. You all are lucky to be able to see her in the beginning of her career, because I tell you what, she's going to shine real bright. And we're so happy that she's a part of the Connect, and happy to have her here in our community to help you build your business. So, you know, a person starting out in business, what's the first thing they should do? We talked about the domain. We talked about the LLC. Now what do we do?
So you're going to obviously need a website. You're going to need social media. You're going to need to think about your accounting, which is something that is totally, you know, not in my area of expertise. So I've had to learn a lot about that, you know, get QuickBooks and learn to manage your expenses. Now you could hire someone to do that, but I'm just trying to keep my expenses low. And I'm trying to think. That's kind of the basic things that come to mind, but of course there's many others, you know, if you want to like buy promotional products or, you know, anything like that. But those are kind of the basics.
I am so impressed. And like I said, you're lucky to be able to see her today. We are going to check back in with Leah in about 1 year. And I'm so excited to watch you grow. You're going to be extraordinary. We've been visiting for, I guess, a month and a half now, leading up to her last day at work and her bravery and courage. And now she's here today as a business owner with Leah's LC Public Relations. LC Public Relations, such cute. And she brought some cards today. Aren't these so cute? She wanted to make sure her cards were unique. Talk about why you chose this square.
So, you know, when you look at a typical business card, you're going to see the standard size. I don't even know the exact dimensions in my head, but the thing that's cool about a square is that it's unique. You're not going to just, no one's going to have just a square business card. And so I wanted to stand out and do something a little different.
Absolutely.
A little less conventional.
So fun, Leah. Well, if people want to keep in touch with you, your Facebook for your company, how can they find you there?
Okay. My Facebook page is LC Public Relations. I also have an Instagram page, LC Public Relations. And then, of course, my website, which is lcpublicrelations.com.
Message. Now, what's the message there? Have everything the same, right? That's the best way for people to find you on social media. Leah, thank you so much. So excited for you. If you are interested in being our Business of the Week, we'd love to share what you do with the community. Please find us on Facebook at theconnect.inc and Instagram as well. We'll see you soon.